Mark, did he send you a bill with this?
No, whatever.
Just whatever, okay.
Yeah, I've not received it.
7, 38, 39, 40. We're good.
As I said, do we have like 80 chairs to set up?
Yeah, we'll find some. We got some in the back. You had time to read the minutes? Bob?
Just finishing.
Okay.
Feeling better? Feeling better.
I'm done. I'm satisfied. Make a motion. We accept the minutes from last month.
I second it.
42.
I think he was already in here, wasn't he? He was already in here, wasn't he?
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I've already made it. It's been seconded.
Is the recorder running, Mark? Okay. Who made the motion?
I did.
You did?
I seconded it.
Motion's been made to approve the minutes of the prior month's meetings. Those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion passes. Financial report?
We did receive our tax draw for property taxes. General fund received about $38,000 in total receipts. That includes other receipts with it. Fire territory received $187,000 total. Equipment replacement $22,660. And the other receipts were from the sewer, $10,797, so that was normal activity there. Disbursements for the month, nothing really out of the ordinary. With ending balances in the general fund, 171, 171,000 and some change. Break it down, fire protection carries 426,000 in combined assets. The sewer operating maintenance, 85,000 total there. No other major changes in any of the other funds. So total fund balance right now in the general fund, which includes the general motor vehicle highway LRS, rainy day, riverboat, cable franchise, and some others. Total 706,000. That does include actually the fire territory. So all combined assets right now that I have on balance is 844,798. And the difference between the bank is $11,000 and some outstanding checks.
So what you're saying is the outstanding checks,
What's that?
so what you're saying is the outstanding checks make up the difference?
Yes, the 11,271.
Okay.
I'd entertain any questions.
Mark, has Nikki said anything about meeting on starting to get?
No, I've got to give
For
her
the budget
preliminary
meetings.
numbers. I got the numbers, so
Will she call that meeting or will we have to call that?
I'll have some input. I mean, we'll try and do
Get
them on the
together.
same nights that we have these meetings, so.
Town marshal's report?
Let's accept the rate. I make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report.
I second it.
Motion's been made, seconded, that we accept the treasurer's report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. Motion passes. Now town marshal's report.
You have a copy of the report in front of you. We've got 323 and a half hours on the street, 40 hours of training, that's 4 hours per officer, for a total of 363 and a half hours. Vehicle 2, at 318 miles for the month, used 23 gallons of gas. Vehicle 1 was 823 miles, used 65.5 gallons of gas. I have no additions or corrections to the rest of the report. If you look, there's a page 3 attached. I'd like to up our officer from 10 to 15, and the reasons are there in the letter for you.
So if we okay this, we will see more police on those streets.
It'll be a couple months before they get trained, but yes.
Because I haven't seen any more. And you said these miles, are these all in-town miles? For the 823?
Yeah.
Does this need a motion, a resolution or ordinance or anything?
Needs discussion.
To, you mean to raise the number from 10 to 15?
Yeah.
I don't know, we don't need a motion on that, do we? Or do we?
Just need some discussion.
Okay, floor is open for discussion. That's simple.
I have a question.
Just a minute. Yeah, Bob?
Name's Don Fessler, I live in Markleville. Kevin, I got a question for you. You've got 800 and some miles there on patrol and everything. Are we patrolling outside of Markleville?
No, they're staying in town.
So there's no stopping or anything of vehicles outside of Markleville?
I can't tell you that that's not a fact, because
You're
sometimes we
the
do.
chief of police, you have to be able to tell. You have to know what your officers are doing. Last week, coming back from 1109 just south of Menards, the Markleville police car is off on the west side of the road, 2 officers approaching a dump truck.
That was me.
Okay,
They had no plate.
okay.
I was advising they had no plate. And they need to
Would
get
that
that.
have been appropriate for the county?
If the county was around, yes.
Okay.
It's perfectly legal according to Mellinger that happened.
Okay.
I've got a letter, a statement from Scott Mellinger on all this.
But that was, to me, that would imply that you were patrolling outside the borders of Norfolk.
Sir, I was on my way back from dispatch when I stopped that vehicle.
Correct. Well, that's a good explanation.
Sam, you have a question?
How many officers are on now?
10.
And what's, from dispatch, what's your numbers go up to? To Markleville 10?
10.
Okay. We hear of Markleville 12 quite often.
Well, all those numbers aren't being used.
Gotcha. Any more discussion about the officers? Yeah.
Kevin, how many hours do you work a week?
Here,
Yes.
anywhere from 20 to 40 to 50,
How many hours do you work elsewhere during the week?
16, sometimes 36, depending on the week.
Who's that? That's cool. Yeah.
I have a question for you, because I guess I'm really confused. You told me to take pictures, and I did that. You used, out of that thing back there, 67 gallons of gas in 26 days from June 16th. 67, but you got 823 miles, 65 and a half gallons. Where, and then another 23 gallons, so there's 42 and a half gallons extra. Where are you getting this gas from? I've got pictures. You told me to take them. I did.
That's fine.
So where's this
Did you-
other
did you
other
stop and
42 and a
think
half?
that- Did you stop and think that maybe some of that was from leftover from last month?
No, I'm talking about, I've got numbers from June 16th to yesterday. 67 gallons was put in from June 16th to yesterday. I'm trying to figure out, this is a 6-mile radius, and we see you guys going down 300 and you keep on going. Way past 900, that's not in town. We see them going out of town all the time. I don't understand how, I just don't understand where this extra is coming from.
I don't have an explanation for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there any more discussion on, him asking for 5 more officers? That's what we were gonna discuss.
I have a question. We're out every day. We see a handful here and there all through the week. You know, a handful. It's always the same handful. You never see 10 different officers out here.
But some of them are still in training.
They have been for 6 months.
Are you against it then, Michelle, or for, or I mean, on the issue we're talking about? Are you,
I'm just against the fact that why we got so many and you still only see a handful and it's always the same ones. I mean, why we keep multiplying when we're not seeing them? We're not seeing the ones we got now.
you mean all at one time?
No, not at one time.
I
I'm talking about
don't
through the week.
understand
It's like,
that.
okay, Saturday and Sunday, where were they? Nobody was out. A
Couldn't tell
weekend,
you.
what, we don't have crime on weekends?
Yeah, I reckon.
Okay, I mean, it's just certain days of the week you see them and then you'll go, what, 2-3 days and don't see nobody?
Okay, so you're
How-
against having more, or then you're in favor of having
I'm
more?
against having more because the ones we got can't come out now.
Okay.
How are we getting more?
Hold up. How many out of the 12 are still going through their certification, whatever it's called?
I have 7 officers that can work the streets by themselves.
7.
7 times 5 is
We no
35
longer put
hours a week.
officers through a 40-hour crew basic course in handling keys. Doesn't happen. They're still in their field training officer phase and they are riding with officers. And they have so many hours that they have to ride with
I was
those
gonna say,
officers
that's a legal thing, isn't it?
before they are cleared.
Finished?
For now.
Lexi?
Kevin, I have a question for you. Do not these officers have other jobs as
Yes,
well as their free time that they volunteer here?
Yes, ma'am.
So it makes it a little difficult to have someone on the street 24 hours a day with just 7 officers?
Yes, ma'am.
I get that because I was on the ambulance. I also had a full-time job, but I was also, to put in so many hours a month was a requirement, even though it was volunteer.
Well, so are our guys, but I mean,
Right, but we had
somebody's on
to.
call, I'm sure 24/7. If there's nobody on the street, there's somebody that can call. I don't remember seeing Sam on the street 24/7. or
Maybe not
one of
him,
his
but I used to
officers.
see somebody sitting at the end of Maple and 38 almost daily.
That's because my daughter called him because of the people that were coming out.
Well,
with
it's,
sledding and the
that-
school buses.
That's the water on the bridge. Lexi, are you for or against them of having
I'm
more,
for getting as many in here as you
for
can get.
getting
that
more
gets us more hours
officers,
on the
volunteer officers?
street. Exactly.
You finished?
I mean, they're volunteer after all.
The only
Allison?
thing it's gonna cost us is resources to train them, correct? Then it seems silly why we would be opposed to it.
You finished? Okay, so you're for it.
For it, yes.
Anybody else? Okay, the discussion's closed. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion, we go ahead and let him pick up 15 and get them trained.
My second.
Motion's been made and seconded that we allow the police department to go from 10 to 15 volunteer officers. Those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do I hear a motion to accept the report? The police report?
I'll make that motion.
My second.
Motion's been made to accept the police report. Those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Street report. This last week on a call from a resident here in town on chuck holes that had opened up under emergency circumstances, I called the gentleman who lives down here, God, I can't think his name right now, to go through town and fix the chuck holes. There were 4 or 5 that were all of a sudden, I don't mean just kind of marginally, they were deep. So as an emergency procedure, I directed him to take care of it. And they have been fixed. To the best of my knowledge, has anybody got chuck holes that need to be patched? Yeah.
I live down this way on 300 and there's a huge one right in front of my house.
Where do you live at?
It's 222 South State.
222 South State?
Yes.
That side, this side?
The pothole's on that side.
See what we can get done. The procedures on bids, we need to cut a request for bids to do pothole work. With this water we're having, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So can you put that in the paper, Mark? We'll open it up next week, because that was the one, good God, it was 10 inches deep all of a sudden, because I just bought it like 3 days before that. So, street report, that's it for the street reports. I know of nothing else. Park report.
I've got some more on the street report on the
Oh,
bridges,
bridge.
but I want to bring that under old business because it's a pretty full report, so I'm going to bring that up under old business.
Okay. Parks report, Wayno.
Weather's killing us.
Amen.
Ball games have been almost non-existent. There's still a lot of water down there around the bowling track. You know, the guy mowing seems like he has to be out there every other day. You know, it's just the weather's been a real hazard for us this year. And but I would like to say that anybody knows anybody from the state, we do have a water problem there in front of the lumberyard. And
I want to talk to you about that.
yeah, and we've had, the state has been out here before.
Just here about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, underneath the road, the tiles broke. I don't have an answer. I don't know that anybody has an answer for that. I know the lumber yard's trying to keep their business going by pumping water. You know, but I know it's flowing back to the south, and then it's overflowing over to the bowling track. It about dried up, and then it rained again, and then it was about dry over the weekend, and of course it rained again. So we were supposed to have a poll in June, that got canceled. We're supposed to have one Saturday, and it looks like that's going to be canceled. So I just want everybody to keep their fingers crossed for the Jamboree coming up at the end of, it's all July 30th and 31st, August 1st, that we don't have water down there, and it's not a problem. I don't really know.
Is the water that Fredericks is pumping off coming over there and creating a problem on the pulling area?
Well, yes.
Or, you know, I can't blame John for dumping the water out, but where he's dumping it's creating problems for other people.
Well, they built, what happened was, I think, they put a little, I guess you'd call it detention pond back to the south, back behind all that stuff. And when they dug it out, of course, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter this year how deep they made it, it'd still be full.
Right.
And when they dug it, there's a couple places there on the west side that basically the dirt doesn't come up high enough to hold the water in the pond. So what happens, it fills that up and then filters back into the pulling track on the east side of the pulling track. I mean, the water back there at one time was probably 12 inches deep. And, you know, it dries up enough to just barely get away, and then it
Yeah.
rains again.
Yeah, I hear you.
And, you know, and I know you've talked to the state,
Okay.
we've talked, you know, everybody's talked to the state, and I don't know, we've emailed our representative and everything else, and we'll see.
Any contact with the state falls on deaf ears,
Yeah.
which is sad. Parks. Frank, thank you for working on the park over here. You did a nice job. We appreciate it.
I just, then realistically, when we have a spring or a starting summer like we have now, there's not a whole lot we can do with it. We
Not
can't do
really.
nothing with that
Well,
water.
and, I mean, look, honestly, probably when John pumps that water, it's hard telling what's going down in that drain. I mean, we all know, I mean, I'm not blaming John, but I'm just saying there's wood chips, there's all kinds of stuff laying around. I mean, I don't know if that's what's clogged it up or not. But
Well, is it clogged or broke? I think
Well,
somebody did,
I
my
heard it
engineer
was
said it
clogged.
was broke under, oh.
I just heard it was clogged
I
out.
thought it was that way.
You know, I don't know.
I've heard it's clogged.
I know it rains because I've left town of a morning,
Yeah,
you know, and it's full out there, and then later it's gone.
yeah.
And I'm not talking about a sunny day, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was rain, it just takes.
And I know there's been several mornings or times where I've left and just been gone for 15 minutes and it's empty, and then I come back and it's full and we haven't had any rain.
And
Well,
I
you
think
pump.
that's when they're pumping.
Yeah. But when it does that, I mean, it covers both sides
Yeah.
of the street.
Yeah.
I think that's when they're pumping, because we've seen a 4-inch plastic.
Well, what I'm saying is, I know that the water then eventually it drains out, so it's not broken.
No, I don't think
It wouldn't drain.
I think it's just clogged
So
up.
it's slow
It's-
drain and
it's clogged.
if there are,
And that's what I think the state is wanting them to fix, is the drain, because it's clogged.
The state wants them to fix where it empties into the ditch, to clean that area out. Now, why they're expecting a private entity to clean a public space is beyond me, but that's their statement.
Say that again, where it empties,
Where it
back there,
Yep.
clear back across Rex's field?
Yep, they expect Fredericks to go back there and clean that up so it will drain. And I'm sitting here thinking, that's about
That would be county.
110% against the law, and the county would not necessarily appreciate it since it's their ditch.
It's a
That was the
legal ditch.
exact statement was made, and when he came up with that one, I just backed off, because that's so,
well, there's a ditch
So silly.
assessment that we pay as property owners on that ditch for maintaining that
Gotcha.
ditch.
you want Pat Manship's number?
Sure.
I'll give it to you after the meeting. Because I'm telling you, talking to
Keep
him,
going.
they'll just tell you, we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't have money. And the sad part about it is, somebody's gonna get killed. That's why, in all honesty, folks, I've talked to the state 4 times in the last 3 or 4 months. Because of the drainage that Fredericks is doing, is creating a hazard. I want the town clear that they know that we're after them. What can we do? We can continue to call, because somebody's gonna get killed.
Yeah,
If not
cars are
killed-
swerving to go around that.
Exactly.
oncoming traffic.
Somebody's gonna be coming up to that, they're not gonna see it, and they're gonna swerve right into another car, and somebody's gonna be dead. And I'm sitting there, I talk to people all the time, once every 3 weeks about, we probably wanna get this done, but I'm telling you, you're talking to deaf ears. If anybody knows somebody that's got some clout, I hope to God it's not like the situation out here over in another county where they repaired the road and the motorcycle guy lost his life. That's getting to be a mess. Yeah, Frank?
There's also a train right across the street from your house. Flooded up also.
From your house?
No,
Oh, from Darlene?
Darlene's house.
Oh, yours
Rain
is,
right there.
Kevin goes out and
This
gets
side,
stuff off of it.
When it rains real heavy, it just fills up part out of the road.
is that not draining well anymore?
If the breeze kept off of it. Kevin will go out and get the stuff off that, and then it drains slow.
It's on
It's a
this
slow
side.
drain,
It's on
yeah,
this side of the road.
yeah.
That ought to be pretty easy to point.
Well, let me ask this question. Does anybody remember when we had that problem before? And I think your mom and I talked to Rex Anderson, and Rex let Fredericks dig a ditch if he didn't have to pay any more fees on his sewer system, and we went through that. He would let him dig that ditch across that field. Was that problem solved at that time? Did that ever?
Right there in front of the lumber.
Yeah, that one what we're talking about. See, that's why we done that. It did.
It never
Remember
cured
the
the
one
That
problem.
never did
flooded
help
out
it.
there? It's been a while.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
has
that's
just
it.
gotten bad.
Yeah.
Sewer report. This brings up an interesting question. Skip, got some word for you. Huh? Chip, I'm sorry. What did I call you? Skip?
Yeah.
I apologize. They have finally fabricated a piece for your cylinder. I would say they will probably be in your yard sometime this week. Folks, we got a problem looking at us, and here it is. The cylinder going into the ground is made out of fiberglass. That fiberglass, expansion, contraction with threes and slaws, is starting to rot. We are literally behind the Powerball when it comes to having the debt paid off or the system functionally working. And by that I mean parts and sufficient monies to repair it before we can get the debt paid. I would thoroughly anticipate probably in the next this board meeting, January 1, this town needs to look at something very close. That's what are we going to do with the sewer system? In the last month, the problems that have been prevalent for years are, I mean, you know, we still have some pumps going out, but we're starting to run into failures of plastic, failures of fiberglass. It's not just pumps anymore. It's showing the age of the system. We do not have the time to generate a sufficient amount of income to retire the debt. That's one side of the problem. The other side of the problem is the stuff's getting old and it's falling apart, as with yours. We're now having to fabricate this stainless steel piece and put it in, because the real problem with his sewer system is not in the sewer system. It's on the outside of the cylinder going in the ground. The fiberglass has rotted. So we're,
Water running into it.
no, the water is coming out. Okay, when the water comes up through the wall, it's on the outside. So the sewage is effervescing from the outside up. It's not on the inside. It's not a problem with the pump and the system pumping, but when you put the system into function, you now are pressurizing that outside, the outlet side, and it's forcing the sewage up. That is what I would call a catastrophic problem, because yours is the second one, and I think we got a third one doing the same thing. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't know, Sam, did you ever run into that problem maybe once before?
Maybe once.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 'Cause-
Can you put new plastic tanks in?
Well, yeah, at $1,500 just for the tank, and they're probably going to be $2,000 before long. So we're behind a curve that says if each one of you want to have a $250 sewage bill, that's realistic numbers. We still owe somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 on the debt, don't we, Mark? Give or take. Yeah. $250,000 on an original $750,000 loan. So we don't have the time to generate enough income to retire the debt, but yet we've got a system that's getting so old, it's starting to create catastrophic problem. The State Board of Health has been good with us. Fredericks has been good. SOS, the people over in Noblesville, they've been good with us. But we are behind a Powerball that isn't funny. And
Well, what's the solution of giving everybody's system back to the?
here's the solution, as I see it. I don't know. We're gonna have a town meeting on this. If I'm in and the board's in, we need input from the people, because I'm telling you, this is a major problem.
Is K-Curse is one of them,
K's was a simple problem to fix.
but it is fixed?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just that it is all of us cumulatively addressing this issue, not just we three or the next three. This is a problem. It's major.
Is there anybody in town that's on the sewer system, got any input or questions, comments, something we want to talk about or what? Yeah.
Chip, how long's yours been out? Your sewer?
2 months.
Is it running on the yard?
Oh, yeah,
So raw sewage is running in your yard?
most definitely.
Landis, you said that they're fabricating a piece for this tank
Mhm.
instead of putting a new tank in?
Can't find new tanks right now. The last time I talked to Josh Key, he didn't know what one was available, because the system is old.
So they're fabricating a new piece to put on a fiberglass tank that you're saying is shot?
No, I'm saying that the fiberglass around the hole, the out hole,
Okay,
Is-
on the tank.
is flooded. So they're making a bigger plate so they can bolt it to it, seal it up, and hope that will work.
There was 3 of those in the back room.
And they're too small, they're only about this big. The plates they're making now are this big.
You have
You
kids
mean-
also, too, don't
You mean they're too small for the hole that's?
They're too small to
wore out?
accommodate the problem, yes. Although they were there, you're very right, we've seen them, we've looked at them, it's just small. Yeah, Wayne?
What's the cost on the fabricated piece?
Don't know, haven't got the price yet. They just got them back from wherever they were being made. See, the parts were originally made at some company out in California. That company has since quit manufacturing those. So now then, they went to a local place over in Muncie, and they've got them made out of stainless steel with stainless steel coupling. Looks like it should work. It's, I don't know, it's literally that big, which you should be able to get to good fiberglass and just, seal it up good, shock mount it in silicon and go with it. It should be a fairly good repair. But if that doesn't work, it still doesn't change where we as a community are at. Doesn't change a thing. And it's a problem. I don't have the answer.
Anybody else got any comments or anything you want to talk about? If not, let me suggest tabling this, and next month's meeting, this will be the main issue to bring up for the whole town. So if anybody in town, and understand, this town still got about, 200 and some, what are we paying for, Mark? The old ones that are still being paid for by the town, sewer systems.
What are we paying?
No, how many? 200?
Probably 200, a little bit more than that.
The original deal, if you remember, this for people that don't remember, the original deal was in 1989, I think, that anybody that hooked up to the sewer at the original would have free sewer maintenance. Not bill, but sewer maintenance. That has went crazy on us, and wait a minute. But what I was going to say, I think Sam suggested one time that we probably should go back to let everybody pay for their own sewer. Your sewer goes out, it's yours.
No.
No, wait a minute. I don't start that stuff. Me and you and Jim and Nia and Sally sat up here and talked about that. And
I'm just a resident sitting out here, Bob. I just appreciate not using my name on that
okay,
stuff.
then
Thank
just
you.
forget it. But I and Sally and Jim and Nia sat up here and talked about this very thing in 2006, and we grandfathered it. Anybody new at that time didn't get free service anymore because it was very apparent that we couldn't sustain that forever. We don't have enough people in this town to pay that kind of bill. So we grandfathered it, but that's not even enough. We're not getting enough new people in to take that load off. That's the situation we're in. Now, when your sewer system goes out, you're talking $1,200-1,500 anyway. So that's what we're faced with. We've got a $250 bill to pay to the government. We could probably borrow more money, put in newer sewer systems. We could raise the sewer prices monthly. We could take the people off of it that are on it now free. I'm not sure that would even help for a while. Them's the things that we got to talk about. So
I'm going to give you some last numbers on this, and then we're going on. The cylinder itself is between $1,500 and $2,000 just for the cylinder. The new box that goes on your side of your building, that's $500, I believe. A new grinder pump now is right at $1,100. Let's see, what else is there? That's pretty much it. And that's not counting the cost to put it all in. So if we have to, we had to replace Frank's pump and box. There went $1,500, $1,600 right there. And then the cost of labor putting it in. Now then, we've got about $85,000 right now to work with to do repairs. But if repairs keep going at the speed they're going, at the rate they're going, believe me, that $85,000 will be gone so fast it isn't even funny. So basically what I'm saying is this: we need to talk. We need your input and we need your ideas. One last comment.
Is that meaning everybody would have to get new ones, or just the older, the 200 that are?
We're going to talk about the whole thing. I don't think anything should be taken from the table.
But no, that's not what, you wouldn't have to get a new one. Yours may not go out for another 20 years.
Right.
We just replaced ours. I didn't know if it was like.
No.
We've got people in town that have never spent a penny on it. You know, but then we've got other people in town that has trouble frequently. So, no, that does not.
If you're running good, it's not going to, I mean, you don't have to rip out what's working good and put in something new. No, that's not it at all. Next point. So, come ready to talk. Attorney's report. You want to get out of here, John?
No report.
I figured that was coming. Planning Commission.
No report to give.
Well, that's a shocker too. Comments by citizens present. Okay.
Mr. President, can I have the floor?
Pardon me?
Can I have the floor?
Sure.
I'd like to clarify something for the citizens of Markleville, okay?
Sure.
My job is a part-time job here. It's not a full-time marshal's position, all right? I am under the same contract that Mr. Weiss was under when he was marshal, and it's 14 hours a week. And when I'm in town, I'm on call to take rooms. Just so you understand, it's not a full-time position.
He also has latitude, Bob. He also has latitude to drive that vehicle, which the town owns, anywhere in Madison County, as long as he stays in Madison County or in the perimeter here. If he gets down to Wilkinson, no big deal. But he has the latitude to use the town's car because of his on-call status.
Go ahead.
You have the same police powers as any city police officer, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so Pendleton police, I've seen Pendleton police pull people over in between here and Pendleton. Why would it be any different?
It's not.
You can go anywhere and
I go anywhere in the borders of the state of Indiana.
just check.
Okay. Unfinished business. Bob?
Yes, I've got some more good news here. A couple of months ago, I got with a guy from Triad Associates and had him come down and look at the bridge here on State Street and the one over on Home Avenue. I've got that full report back finally. Mark got it back this week sometime. Just for a round number, the probable cost for this one on State Street would be around $50,000, and the probable cost of one on Home Avenue would be $32,350. Now, those are estimates, understand, and they have looked at the cement, the load limits, the whole work. I've been to the county 3 or 4 times. I don't look like we're going to get much help from the county since they're in the town. So this is something that he says is not an emergency that we have to do tomorrow, but it's something we gotta do, and I think we need to definitely look at the budget, ways of doing this, and getting these bridges over these 2 streets fixed. The one on Home Avenue, don't worry me, it's bad because they don't have much traffic and there's no heavy truck. This one occasionally has a heavy truck, and that's bad. So that's another thing people can think about. If anybody wants to look at this, the pictures that he took, see what he wrote down, you're more than welcome
But
to.
that's gonna kind of go back to getting these semis to quit coming through here.
Exactly, that's one of the things that has to go along with this.
Did anybody give you guidance as to ownership of that bridge? Since it's over the county's ditch, it's a county bridge.
That's fine with me, but that's not what the county says.
But,
They plow it,
pardon me?
they plow it,
Yeah.
snow plow.
I mean, until somebody says and shows, because here's the double edge of this coin, folks. If we touch one of those bridges, they come up and say, uh-oh, you touched the ditch. We're now no longer responsible for the ditch from start to finish. We're not touching that ditch. That's a one-way coin to get the short end of the stick. Until somebody shows ownership, or until ownership is established in some fashion or form, touching those 2 ditches is crazy. Because now then, you're buying it. It's what you're going to do. And that, sure, they're going to try to get us to buy it. Who wouldn't? They get out and under the burden.
No, these guys aren't.
Oh, they're
I
independent,
got getting
yeah.
ready to say,
Yeah, they're
you want
independent.
Pat Manship's number?
I got Pat's
I know where he lives.
I get it to you when he gives it to me.
It's a problem. John's been involved in them before. He knows what the county and the guys do on the bridges. In fact, I just saw a big, this week, in fact, Chuck Lesser's picture was on the front of the paper. He's looking at, what is $80-some million they've got to come up with to build bridges in Madison County.
I saw.
Now, these 2 weren't 2 of them. He wasn't talking about these 2 of them. But they're in trouble. I know they don't have any money. But that's something that, like I said, I don't think it has to be done
In the
tomorrow.
future, you want to start taking points of aggravation, take them to the people who are responsible. The town's not responsible for that bridge or that bridge, because it's over their ditch, not ours. I mean, God knows I'd love to help, but if a court comes down and says it's your bridge, hey, we deal with it. Nobody's went there yet. Nobody's gonna go there, quite honestly. You had a question, Allison?
Yeah, okay, so I'm all about not touching the ditch and not making it ours, but, so do we just play, it's not my job until it falls apart? I mean, what's the
Good
plan of
question.
action there?
Good question.
That's basically what we're throwing
It's
out
the
there.
same thing with the state and the
I don't
water.
know.
You can, I've talked to Pat Manship till he's blue in the face and I'm half dead. Definition. And nobody will give you an answer. Well, ask for a solid answer. You won't get it. Say, well, since it's not yours, whose is it? I don't know. Well, let's see. There are only 1, 2, 3 possibilities. And we know it's not yours, so whose is it? option A or option B. They're playing the game on us. It's how simple it is.
John, what
playing
would
the
your
game.
suggestion be? I mean, just suggestion. Don't-
Just a minute, Frank.
Just like what I told you is just, they said there just requires a lot of follow-up with the county. I mean, but they're broke.
It's true.
How could we start that process? I mean, would it be good to wise to start that process, or?
Yeah, that's where I was saying to you, you're gonna have to keep after them because they're broke.
Can we get something that if we end up fixing the ditch or the bridges, that we're not responsible for the ditch, anything that since they're broke and can't replace them, and it's gonna fall on us?
Well, first you gotta get discussions with the county and they're just gonna give you the runaround for.
Oh,
Boy, what did I just get through saying? Believe me, I've been down that path. Yes, Frank, you had a question.
If it's the sawdust and stuff that someone mentioned, that maybe clogging that pipe or drainage going through crossing, why doesn't Fredericks get it cleaned out? So it should be their problem if they're pumping sawdust and wood chips in there.
Here's the way that sits. The actual ditch belongs to the state. Fredericks has put a TV snake down there, and you can see where it's not in functioning fashion. It's not clutter. Whether it's chips or what the clutter is, I have no idea. I didn't actually see it. State says, no, Fredericks, you have to clean out where the water exits from. And Frederick says, well, why do we worry about that if the water's never going to get there? And I can't get a commitment from the state to say, okay, and Fredericks is more than willing to go down there and clean out the ditch. State's not willing to say, okay, one hand washes the other, let's get her done. They're afraid one's going to cheat the other. I don't know what it is. It's insanity.
My thought is there's got to be a drain pipe going across.
Sure is.
Okay.
Yes.
Why don't they run a snake through it or something and see if they can break whatever that clog is? If it's sawdust and stuff, it should break and it should flow free after that.
I pursued that path. You know that big suction thing they got, the state's got? I said, why don't you bring that out here? Well, they've got one of those in central Indiana now, and it's committed. I got to song and dance on that like it wasn't even funny, and I said, well, get us a commitment, because I got a feeling this is going to be here for a while. Deaf ears. Total waste of time. And that's, I mean, you know, I'm totally exasperated. I don't know what to do with the state.
Let me get like one of the big electric snakes and go through there. If you come in the exit of the ditch where the pipe is, and work it back this way.
If you look on the...
If it's just a clog, that'll should break it up and open it up in the motion.
If you look on the south side of the road, there's about a 12-inch PVC thick-walled cap. You can take that cap off and look in there, and there's water. I don't know why they can't do that. I agree with you. If it's a problem, put pressure on that end, put a sucker on this end, and watch it come down. It'll happen. You gotta have people that wanna make things happen, and they just, maybe I'm just not talking to the right people.
Well, that shouldn't cost that much to get that done, should it?
I wouldn't think so, but
I mean,
Talking
we
to
could
the
do
state.
that if we have to, couldn't we?
now there
That'd be better
again,
than a
there we
$1
go
million
back.
lawsuit or something.
Well, and this is why I've continued to contact the state, because the one thing they cannot refute is Sam can testify to this, Kevin can. I have made statements to go on, have the police notify dispatch in Anderson that there's water. That way we can say, when the problem hits, that Markleville has tried, Markleville has tried, Markleville has tried, Markleville has tried. What does Sam Hill, Mork, and Markleville do? Because that's where it's coming. In case you're wondering, that's called CYA, and if you don't know what that stands for, because it's coming, the problem's coming. That's why I'm going through the police and dispatch to call Greenfield, where the state regional area is at. This is not an amiable problem. I don't know why nobody wants to work with nobody else down there, but they sure don't want to do it, and it's dangerous.
Money. Nobody's got any money.
Well, part of the battle too. Enough of me preaching. Unfinished business, Bob, that was it. New business. That's it?
We need to establish 2 funds.
Oh, yes, thank you, Mark.
We need to establish a fund under the general account for public safety funds that we get from the county, option income tax. We
Okay.
get the monies now, we just need to separate it for budget purposes. So I'll draw the paperwork for that, but that's nothing more than a resolution creating that fund. And then we also need to create a police donation fund, as we're receiving donations for the police department for certain activities. So
What does that need, just a motion?
both of them would need a motion basically to create that fund. Yeah.
Tonight, before you get to it, we'll just,
Do I hear a motion? Do I hear discussion, first of all? It's nothing more than a line item process. We're gonna create 2 line items. It's no big deal.
I'll make
Pardon me?
What are we talking about?
Creating 2 new funds.
The money goes into one central fund, and we're saying under one area, major title, we're gonna put another one under here that says minor title. So the money stays the same, we're just going to note it in the records, is what it amounts to. That it was meant for a police donation, or
And donations
Yeah.
to the police department.
Okay.
it's merely a method of bookkeeping. Nothing's gonna change, it's just bookkeeping.
what do you
got-
want the fund title as, Mark? In the motion.
It'll be 2 funds.
Police donation fund.
I'll make a motion that we as a board adopt the police donation fund as a line item.
I second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And,
Aye. Motion
Public
passes.
safety fund is the other one.
I'll make a motion, we establish a line item for a public safety fund.
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Those in
Step
favor?
right up whenever you want to. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I forgot 2 points here. Matt, are you gonna submit a bid to mow?
No.
Okay. Last board meeting, we had a,
Landis, let me interrupt you, that did not
Sure.
get advertised. That was my fault, I did not get it advertised for the mowing, so
what do we do now?
Continue.
extend it till the next,
Okay,
or we can call it a meeting in 2 weeks and come up here and get it done that way.
how do I legally handle the continuation of the mowing and street cleaning process? Because there's more work to be done.
That's an emergency basis.
Emergency basis, okay. You're out of the picture, Matt?
You're not gonna do any more mowing?
No.
Okay.
You're in. Okay. If anybody else wants to get in on the mowing, come up and we will divvy it up according to 50-50. It'll be under an emergency basis
Until we get,
until we get next month, and this will stay sealed until that time. You had a statement. you
well,
wanted to
I
make.
got a couple things. As old business, when we talked about the street signs,
Oh, yeah. I forgot to do.
is it possible that we can get people that need community justice hours, community hours to help with that? Okay.
Yeah.
That way, that'll help take,
However, the state has mandated the type of street signs that are to be put up,
okay,
okay? And Lance could probably
Yeah.
say a little more about that. He's spoken
Okay.
to that particular.
Yep, that's what I'm going through right now. On the signs issue, unbeknownst to us, and at the Madison County Office of Governments, or whatever, MC called, the federal government has mandated that all signs within towns have a certain degree of reflectivity. The feds have also put forth the money to do it. The guy at COG failed to announce this to practically no one. I have received, this one guy making the signs up, he comes into my shop today, he says, I need your, a couple of weeks ago, said, I need your signature on this. I said, whoa, I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, I tracked it down and enjoy.
Me.
Yeah. The government will be issuing people and signs free gratis. So,
Can use that.
yeah, they're all going to be the newer high reflectivity signs. So,
Great.
there's your information. This is that guy that was the sign company guy.
Are they gonna be able to put one out of 38 and 109 that's a state area for no semis to come this way?
That is not.
To kind of go along with that, what you're saying, Darlene, will we meet with them and tell them what we need, or do they decide?
It's
what
my understanding, this is why, I mean, I've got my hands in some other circumstances. You're new to the board, have fun. I'll help you.
Hold up, I don't have your number on speed dial.
It will be.
Okay.
It just needs to be made sure and follow up with these people.
Okay.
And make sure that we don't get stuck with the bill, because that one happy fellow there, he just stuck us with the bill and everything else.
Don't you guys think it would be good if we could have some kind of a meeting and express the needs?
Well, and this is the thing, as far as putting in a sign out there and saying this is not the truck route, you know, you gotta go down here for the truck route. Clarify me, John, is that our bailiwick? That's my point.
What do you mean?
We got no grounds to do that. We have no grounds to say, put a sign out there. That has to be done by the state.
Now, that's what I'm saying, they should be able to do it since
No,
it's,
this applies strictly to street signs here in town.
But I do think we have the ability to go right here on the corner and say, no trucks over 5 tons or whatever it
I was gonna
is.
say Pendleton did it and they can't go through there.
I have questioned the people, I know a couple of board members at Pendleton, and here's how it comes down. They have either ordinances or resolutions, whatever, I hope I say this correctly, which gives optional approval for local grain vehicles. Because the one thing I think all of us don't want to do is stop the farmers.
Oh, no.
That's
I'm
not the
just
point.
being-
And I asked this one old friend of mine, I said, how you getting away with that? Because that's differentiation. He says, nope. He says, we passed an ordinance that says if you're grain and local, it's not a
No load
full-time process.
No load limit.
No load limits. Yeah, they got around it. So the best thing we can do is probably talk to them and follow their lead. But our ability to put signs out on state roads is zero. Can we put them up here? Yes. Can we adopt ordinances or resolutions that preclude long-haul trucks from doing that? I think that's what they had, was long-haul trucks from going this way.
Yeah, but there just needs to be discussion because there's many different issues involved with it.
Yeah, a lot of them are legal issues too, aren't they? I mean, stepping into it.
And just the economy.
It always goes back to money, that's for sure.
No. You wanting to say something?
Yeah. I just want to go on record that I'm here to serve the town. Not to be drawn into any feuds, it's prior me coming on here. I don't want to be put in the middle of it. If I need to be contacted for some problem, no problem at all. But I will not be contacted for meeting or business that I don't know of, that would have to come from Bob and Landis. I want my duty till December is to get this town back on track to the town that it used to be. But it's gonna take everybody working together. We can't be going back and forth. It's gotta be together. If we want this community to be what it used to be. Too many people's put their roots down here because of Markleville pride. And that's the only way it's gonna get back, is if we work together as a community. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you for saying that, and I appreciate it, and I agree with you 100%.
If there's nothing else, bring forward board, we'll, yeah, John.
Hey, we moved this refrigerator here for storage back here. You want us to get rid of this out here, or is it good here? There was almost a death involved moving that.
I heard of that just a couple of days ago.
And if we want to move it, we'll get it moved. But we like to leave it here till after the jamboree, because we have a baking contest there. But it's up to you guys.
I'd like to actually see it put back here at some point. I will.
I mean, we can take it, we'll put it out in possession.
At some point, I mean, if you want to leave it there for the baking contest or something, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's my opinion. I don't
Where
want you
did
to.
it come from?
It was in this back room. It belongs to Lions Club. What it is, Lions Club
I don't have a problem with it.
fridge.
You got 2 yeses.
It's fine. It's
It's fine.
fine.
Just after the jamboree.
There. I know Jen had some business she wanted to discuss.
Yeah, sorry for missing the moment that you said earlier.
Not a problem.
I'm Jen Hapco. My husband Paul and I, we moved here like 3 years ago. He coaches a 9U baseball team, and we've been using the facility over here. We're not the primary team that has rights to it right now, but that team is aging out, if you will, of the travel ball. Their players are all going into high school. We did recently resurface the field. We have repaired and replaced a lot of the parts on the first base dugout. We did all the things to do the third base dugout, but like Wayne mentioned, the weather has really been an issue with that. We have also secured from the town of Pendleton. They're taking out what they refer to as the red diamond downtown Pendleton. We've secured all of the parts to that diamond, the bases, the fencing, the scoreboards, the lights. We would really like to be able to upgrade the field that is currently there, but we are also interested in how to propose to the town who to talk to build another field there so the facility could be used more. A lot of the issues...
May I interrupt you just a second?
Yes.
You say in another diamond?
Yes.
Where would that be placed at?
I believe that there is a good spot for a smaller field, not the size of the one now, but 180 to 200 foot field to the, I guess it would be to the south of the basketball goal.
Okay.
To the south of the basketball court. It's pretty flat there. We would have the fencing for that already. The requirements, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I think it would just need to have some sort of 2 shelters put in place for dugouts, and we'd have to purchase new poles for the fencing because you can't reuse those. We do have a contact with B.L. Brown, who cut the new diamonds at the Pendleton facility. They still have that template. They'd be willing to volunteer their time to cut the field in. The town would just have to obviously donate the property. And obviously we'd have to run electricity out to them if we were going to put lights up and things like that. And the scoreboards are electrical as well.
Let me ask you a quick question. You used the term "we." Who is "we"?
Oh, well, mainly my husband and I, and then another member of another parent on our team, Shane Davis, has some contacts with Ron Barnhart. We've been working with the town. We moved from Pendleton, grew up there and everything, so we had good contacts there to make phone calls and to try to be of service how we could. I ran the local basketball association there for 6 years, and my husband's been actively involved in some other areas there in Pendleton, so we just tried to kind of get what we could before it was wasted or shipped out somewhere where it couldn't be used.
Let me see if I'm hearing you correctly. You're looking for permission from the board. Wayne, did I talk to you on this?
Yes.
You guys
We have. And
come up with a proposal. Could you do that?
To know is kind of where you guys would sit on that. It didn't make sense for us to put a lot more effort into it if we didn't think it was something that you wanted to pursue.
When would this be? Next year?
Well, we have to take everything out this winter, but we have secured a location to store everything already if need be as well.
So what you're telling me is you've got the goods, and you're just looking for a place to build it?
Yes.
Okay.
If not, it's going in my backyard.
Well,
See,
go ahead.
They have volunteered like, to bring, they got little guy. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we got 3 or 4. But it'll be.
Oh, we have 4 children, is that what
So
you're
they'll,
saying?
yeah, so
We
they'll
have 4
become,
children.
they're in it for the long haul. That's what I'm trying to get to.
You're saying it's a
They're
feeder
just starting
process.
out This process. And what happened back, oh, I don't know, it's probably been 12, 15 years now. Over every year, we've had different guys take, I guess you'd say, leadership of that ball diamond. It started out with Jerry Cox, then it went to Mike Shirley, then it went to Ronnie Hapco, then it went back to Mike Shirley because he had another one coming up. And all we ask them to do at the ballpark it's out there now is to take care of it. They don't pay anything to play. They do the mowing because we always felt like if they didn't do the mowing, we'd have to pay somebody.
Exactly.
They pay, they do the mowing on a volunteer basis, they clean up their trash, and it's worked. I mean, we've had a few instances of mess ups, but really over the past 15 years, it's worked just fine. Now, Paul is interested in building another diamond, which I don't really, it doesn't matter to us, it's just that because the field out there to the west, where she's talking about, all we do is mow it and make hay out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we do.
Well, how's this for a proposal then? How about you getting with Wayne and John and Chad, the park board, and you guys work out a proposal, yes or no, or maintenance and the whole work, and bring it back to us?
Well, all I asked them to do was come up and explain to you guys
what they're planning.
were, because that, we don't want anybody in the dark here.
Well, I do have a
Everything
question.
will be up front with all this stuff.
Right now, the facility is really underused, and it's underused because you have one team that was given permission to use it. They schedule it out, and then they don't follow the schedule. So, for instance, we can't schedule practices on days when they say they're going to use it, but then they're not out there. We don't want to see that. And the other side of that too is that the coach of that team, he doesn't live local anymore. He lives in Lapel. So they don't actually mow it. We've actually been mowing it. We've been maintaining it and the best that we can outside of what they've said their schedule is. So the other thing that we would like to do is we would like to have a schedule that is workable for the public. We've already been approached by several other teams that would like to be able to use the facility. There's several other teams that are interested in hosting tournaments. We believe that we can bring a substantial amount of money back to the park. That's my background personally is in fundraising and non-for-profit, so I think that we have the ability to actually bring some income back to the park by improving the facility that exists now and potentially expanding it so that tournaments and such could be hosted there with ease.
Just a second.
My question is, how's it gonna go with the parking for the Jamboree? Is that gonna take up a lot of the?
Something that those guys were, talk about, I think,
Well,
in the plan.
now, we're talking about a difference here between 3 months and 3 days.
Right.
I mean, that's my opinion of that. I mean, that's,
I'll tell you, as a coach this last year, coaching Little League, there's a big need for baseball diamonds in this area.
I agree with that.
I have seen personally basically the justification for such resources to be invested in it.
Okay, hold on.
It's a big deal.
Dan, you had a comment.
I do, but it's probably for Jen and maybe even Matt. Isn't these tournament plays, people come in to play, it could create quite a little revenue for the park. Is that right?
Absolutely. For instance, my son's travel team, we're participating in one at the Pendleton Park this week, and our discounted rate was $225. The full rate's $300. And that's just per team.
Yeah.
They're also going to have people up at the gates where every car is going to pay $5 just to park there, and concession stand money and everything else that comes in. This is a 10-team tournament.
I think my question to her is, or maybe even to you guys and Wayne, is with that being said, why aren't you putting as many ball diamonds on there as you can get?
Yeah, but we also don't have a concession stand area there.
Yes,
you do.
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there is. And there actually is a
Oh,
local,
that's right, I forgot.
It's over by the
there's
other
a
ball
local
line.
group that's already gone, that has already sort of taken over that. I think it would be appropriate for us to probably meet with them as well and include them. We'd like to see the money going back into the town. We're not looking to run our team for free by you guys footing the bill or anything along those lines. We are, I don't know how personal you want to get. I can provide you with references. We're just a
That's not
Christian-based
necessary.
team.
Here's what it amounts
To be able
to.
to provide opportunities.
Linda, you had one comment.
I just wondered if all of this would fall under the parks liability insurance, or, I mean.
That would have to, yeah, that would have to come. Anybody uses
Required
parks
to
under
hold their own
liability.
insurance. Typically, your travel teams are gonna be connected with an outside organization. They have to maintain their own insurance for liability. And we would, if you ran a tournament, if we did, you know, I think that one thing that would benefit if you have one person in charge of it, you could have all those certifications on file. You could make sure each team that plays.
That would
has
be
their
mandatory.
proper-
Yeah.
Is that your job, is that your application then?
As long as we have first rights to the field, I would willingly do that.
Okay, here's what it amounts to. You had your hand up, Louise.
That's fine.
Okay.
Question for her anyway.
I have no problem with it. I don't think Bob has a problem with it. I don't think Darlene has a problem with it, but the process is this. Go through John and Wayne and Chad, present your plan. They will bring it to us.
Okay.
If need, I don't see a problem. If you're talking bringing in money, Wayne and John like to spend money on rope lines and laser shows. No, that's, I don't know what their
I don't think
position
you
is.
think it's a problem with this board,
No, but it sounds like you guys are fairly positive on this, are you not?
Oh, yeah, I don't know that the park, the only, you know, all I'm thinking, my only problem with the whole thing is what happens after they're done.
Well, it's still ours.
Yeah, I know, and that's something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, and, you know, that,
By having actual process in place, the processes then become much easier to follow though.
Oh, yeah.
Since there's not a process in place now, that's what's kind of left it
Right.
unused
Well, that's
and
true.
underutilized. And by putting a process in place that can be replicated easily, it wouldn't matter if we were in charge of it or who else might be. Again, we have been approached by several other teams
The proper-
to be able to partner with us.
The proper line which should be followed is
And-
bring your presentation to them and
And then they'll bring it to you.
they'll bring it to us or they'll pass it
Just a quick mention
themselves.
on the maintenance of it, we do have Bendels and Pendleton is willing to be a sponsor and to donate, not really donate, but they would allow us a lease of 2 years for no cost on a brand new mower to be able to maintain the field, and every 2 years they would replace that mower.
Who do you know at Bendel's?
That sounds good.
Lord, is that your dad or?
But we're gonna try to optimize everything we can out of it.
Yeah.
We do have some good connections with IMI as well for materials and things. So we're willing to be as helpful as possible.
Hire her. Just say yes.
I have no problem.
Bring it forth. Bring it forth.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yo, thank you for coming. Anybody got anything else they want to say? No, we're gonna pay bills and get out of here.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye. See you, John.
Motion carries.